All right. So thank you very much, everybody. So we have time. So let's begin. We in this webinar we'll be exploring how AI is reshaping the enterprise sales and marketing, identify how where human expertise remain essentials, and share practical strategies and AI adoptions. We learn how to boost productivity, strengthen our customer relationship, everything around sales and marketing and how AI is impacting this domain. So let me introduce you to the brilliant panel here. I have a good friend, Steve from Australia, Steve Tolen. He runs a organization called the Steve Co. He's helping the recruitment leaders and founder-led B2B businesses to accelerate growth, position themselves strongly in this modern times, and help them to strategize better and have more predictable pipelines. In early this year, Steve has started, he changed the game, and he has actually scaled and started an online coaching sessions, which has actually grown to 9 countries, including Thailand, Singapore, Australia, and Japan. Then we have Sami Ammous, a very good friend again. Sami, welcome. He's a chief AI strategist at Sans Noise and AI adoption consulting firm. He comes with more than 2 decades of experience in leading sales and go-to-market strategies for B2B SaaS companies across APAC and Middle East. Now, currently, he's working with senior leaders to build the practical judgment around generative AI and separating the real capabilities from hype and applying it where it actually moves the needle. Um, Welcome, Sami. We have Fraser here. Fraser he's a CEO of 1,000 Steps, a Singapore-based outbound marketing and position company which positions, helping companies, B2B organization to scale through the lead generations, LinkedIn strategies, and targeted outreach. Uh, with extensive experience in sales and BD and growth strategy, he has grown from 2 people to 60 people company in just a span of 6 years' time. And his business is spreads across Singapore, Australia, UK, Canada, and UAE. Thank you very much, Fraser, for joining. I'll open the session with few questions initially. So we have divided broadly this whole session of 45, 50 minutes into 4 categories. So as we know that the sales is always we all need more revenues and growth. Um, and sales functions of the business covers that. So we will be covering prospecting and outbound broadly, qualification and discoveries of the customers, how the deal progresses and closings, and of course the retention and expansion of the businesses there. So let me open first with Fraser. Fraser, you run a marketing company, right? So is AI making outbound easier, or just making a bad outbound easier to send at a scale? What do you think? Share your thoughts, please.
You sort of answered my question. Making bad
Yeah.
outbound easier. It's. I think we were talking about this the other day with Steve, and it is about the human and the relationship. So in theory, AI should be accelerating that, but actually, at the moment, what it's doing is it's decelerating that. So you're getting less people engaging in an authentic human way than ever before. Yeah, right. So I don't think it's having a positive effect.
Okay, that's good. Sami, how should an SDR actually change their daily workflow this year? I mean, not in theory, but more from a prospecting and outbound outreach. What are your thoughts? You have been consulting on AI and sales and marketing,
Yeah.
particularly.
So the SDR story is interesting. I think there's a temptation from a lot of people to fully automate the SDR process. Companies look at it as an expense and a headache. So like, why can't we just, give it all to AI? But I find that if you take away the human element, it's the most effective part of selling. It's that connection, it's that empathy that humans bring in that so far AI can't replace. So if I'm an SDR today, or if I'm an SDR manager and I'm looking at my day, I would focus on the steps or tasks in my process that actually take up a lot of my time but don't give me lots of returns.
Hmm.
Doing customer research, trying to customize the message about the customer I'm reaching out to, following up with leads, getting competitive insights. Like these are all things that individual SDRs can use to optimize their day. And from a management point of view, from like someone managing an SDR team, it's trying to
Right.
find the sources of data and optimizing those sources and really qualifying and shortlisting target lists that can make SDR teams more effective.
Okay. So, Sami, just a quick question on that before we move on to Steve. Sami, we all know that it's something a concept of marketing funnel, right? So, we at the top of the funnel. How do you think that the activities or the day-to-day tasks of a SDR ideally should change, given that we have so much noise around AI, several tools going on? Please.
Yeah, so the day-to-day activities, if you measure what an SDR does today, you'll find that they spend a lot of their time researching, if they're not using AI, a lot of the time is spent researching, writing emails, shooting out emails or cold calls, and following up with those contacts. And I think a lot of time is also spent, or sorry, wasted on leads that are not effective. They don't have enough customer information. The details are not up to date. The contact information is incorrect or out of date. And AI just takes away all of that noise. So the SDR, let's say traditionally would reach out to 100 customers and only three or four are actually actively correct customers in terms of the needs. AI will help take that from three to four to maybe 10 or 15. Now, someone might say it's still 15% effective. I'm like, yeah, but that doubled or tripled their effectiveness. So they become much more productive in what they do. So again, it's just focusing on those elements where it's a lot of repetitive manual mechanical work that can be automated and made more effective using AI.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sami. Steve, over to you. I mean, you have been 20 years of plus experience in sales and BD, hardcore sales to what I know you personally, right? What is your in field experience? Are companies still hiring junior SDR, or they're kind of skipping straight to AI tools and just to increase the funnel size? What are your thoughts, please?
Oh, mate, well, look at me, 20 years hardcore sales. My eyes are going now. So I need to be replaced by an avatar, I think, as I was saying before with Fraser. So it's definitely coming. I think Sammy's just answered the question perfectly. You know, technology is evolving at such a rapid rate, but there was a report that came up by Salesforce, the 2026 State of Sales report, and they said that a third of high performance sales teams are now using kind of AI agents, right? So what we are seeing is this kind of shift, less to be honest, humans, yes, less SDRs, but more powerful kind of technology. And as Sammy put, utilizing the tools to do more correct kind of research, right? Analyzing the kind of the data. But it generally depends. I think the larger organizations are certainly investing more in AI, and kind of running it
Right.
alongside the SDRs. So, mate, there's not one kind of size fits all, but I think we all agree the benefits are definitely there, and those that aren't innovating or at least trialing different things will probably be getting left behind. So that's just my take on that one.
Right.
I,
Yeah.
and
Go ahead,
can I
Fraser.
add to that, yeah, right, Steve? I mean, I think you're right. Look, I think the enterprise organizations are not, yeah, right. So if you look at Microsoft or you look at the very, very large organizations, they can't implement AI easily, yeah, right, as an SDR tool because they've got to test it all. They've got so many rules, regulations, structures, locations, countries. So I think that mid-sized company is more aligned to actually doing what you're saying there, right? But I mean, having had a conversation with Microsoft about this, they're not applying it, right? They're not able to, yeah, right? It's difficult for them. I mean, they are obviously on that journey, yeah, but the journey to getting something that they can practically use is a lot longer than the rest of us, yeah, right? And mid-sized companies, yeah.
Right. Yeah, Steve, just before we move to the next stage of the sales and marketing, your operations span in 9 countries, right? Geographically, when you look into the customer base and the behavior and their AI adoption at the top of the funnel stage here, do you think is it different geographically or across the globe is all across 9 countries, all the customer behavior is same, especially in Australia, if you talk about.
Oh, there's definitely different maturity levels, like with anything. I think at the moment of myself, I'm a Gen X. And the key thing is the mindset. Are you willing to have a change mindset? Are you trying new things? Because it's never been easier to get left behind in a shorter space of time. So I think that's what I'm seeing with people, right? They're embracing technology, and that can be across different kind of geographies that we're kind of seeing. But yeah, here in Australia, it's a mature kind of country, but there's definitely, I think it's that fear of being left behind. And to the point that Fraser kind of said, the thing that we see this hesitation is all around trust. right? Do I trust this or do I do whatever? That seems to be the thing. So we're kind of in this kind of early adoption kind of phase, and that's what we're seeing, mate, across most of the geographies, right? Across kind of Asia, what have you. So hope that kind of answers the question.
Yeah, definitely it does. Thank you very much. Yeah, and in my understanding, with what little we are doing, there are several tools which are available, and we need to research well, for my audience sake, properly your operational stages and how you're trying to, position yourself, how you're designing your sales and marketing process, and pick up the right tool and keep a right mix of human in loop and the tools together. So now, having increased the funnel size, we will go for the qualification and discovery. Steve, let me begin with you. What skills you come from heavily recruitment, industry, and recruitment? I personally have a little bit of experience, and I feel that it's one of the toughest where relationship-based sales is involved, right? So, what skills are recruiters screening for at this stage? That didn't matter 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I believe if we talk specific to the recruitment industry, we're at the start of the AI revolution, and again, the next 18 months to 24 months, I think, are going to be really just revolutionary for the industry. What we're starting to see from is people are working with lesser teams, right? And in some cases, they've gone to kind of 50%, and that's because of the market volume, etc. So I think what we're seeing now from the recruitment space is more specialist agencies and more niche kind of recruiters, right? You'll always have the kind of the MNCs. So in terms of answering that kind of question, what we're seeing is from we're at the supply end, right? Recruitment is not an essential service, okay? So we're based on relationships. We're able to find people that clients can't. So what we're seeing now from recruitment from a sales perspective is really some adaptability. And I keep going back to that kind of change mindset. Are you frightened by change? So even with when people are recruiting within AI, what's current now will be outdated within 6 to 12 months. So it's that will you come with us on the journey? So that kind of adaptability, agility, they're probably the softer skills that we're kind of seeing in the recruitment space. But I actually think again, for me, I'm kind of one of those. I just see so much opportunity as opposed to negativity, right? I think what it's a fantastic time to actually be in the recruitment space because there's just so much opportunity. So yeah, that's the biggest thing, being able to kind of come on that journey.
Right. Sammy, you want to add to that?
Yeah,
I saw an
actually, I
expression.
did.
Good smile
So
there.
yeah, no, because Steve, obviously you look at it from a recruitment point of view, but I also look at it from what skills do people need to develop to use the AI tools today. So I like I'm at my job, someone else is at their job, and all of a sudden everyone's talking about AI. So everyone's panicking. Do I need to go get like a BI degree? Do I need to get a big data or analytics degree or go into data science? And most of the time, for most generative AI tools, the answer is no. The best way of using generative AI is the skill that you have when you're managing a team or you're delegating, which is, are your instructions clear? Do you understand the outcome? Um, like if you think of a good manager, they give people tasks, but they don't tell them how to take every step of the way. They have to guide them in the right direction and trust that people will do it. And working with generative AI is also very similar. So it just goes back to the skills of being a decent communicator, setting correct objectives, explaining how people get there, answering questions,
Right.
specifying the task. All those things are what make you a good manager and a good colleague are also the things that make you a good dealing with generative AI.
Right. And does that also include buying a lot of coffee for your colleagues?
And that's a nice thing about it. I mean, you don't have to buy a coffee, but the tokens will
All right.
catch up to you. I don't know about you, but I burn through my tokens on a daily basis. This is a very expensive habit.
Right. Right. I understand. So, Sammy, to continue with you, can AI actually qualify a deal, or does it just look like it can? I mean, in reality,
Yeah.
what's your experience?
So it's again like any like some of your colleagues. If you treat AI like an expert in everything, it might get you in trouble. But what you want to do is you want to train it. So what does that mean? It means that you if you feed it all of the deals that you've won, all of the deals that you're qualified, give it a lot of your history as an organization, ask it very specific questions. It's a very helpful tool in terms of qualification. What AI misses, and I think seasoned salespeople will also, I think, resonate with this, is that there's a gut feel sometimes you develop as a seasoned salesperson that you can't really explain. It could be the tone of the person you're working with. It could be the kind of interaction you had with it, could be the history with this account. There are certain things that will help you make a judgment call. I think what AI will help you with is you make sure you don't miss any of the like the big signs. We once lost a massive deal, like a $6 million deal that we had to cancel, and we lost a ton of money on because we made one big mistake, which is we got the buy-in from all the business owners in the opportunity, but we didn't really engage with the IT team. So we over-index on the business owners versus IT owners, and the IT team, they're like, yeah, we'll do this project, but they sabotage every step of the way. So they would take, we'd give them a document. They'll be like, oh, we'll get back in 2 days. They'll give it to us on the end of the second day at 11:30 p.m., asking us for feedback for the next morning. So they really pushed us really hard. So if we had an AI tool that would check all the boxes, it would have told us, hold on, you didn't get any buy-in from IT. And that's something everyone is excited. We're going to get the deal. We've completely disregarded the IT guys. So stuff like that, I think AI will help you prevent.
Okay, brilliant. Fraser, you have been handling various kinds of clients from various industries, right? What do you think? Should a BDM qualification process looks like? What should be how different should it be now? I mean, what's your thoughts on BDM process?
Yeah, but I mean, my view on qualification is the person. I have a really simplistic view, and look, first of all, there's no such thing as an MQL, right? It's a marketing lead, full stop. Yeah. And a marketing lead, the Q should be removed completely, right? And never, ever brought into the conversation again. SQL is a different thing, yeah. But so if we look at an ML, yeah, right, and a marketing lead and say, is that a good lead or not? It's very simple. Is it the right person in the right company, in the right location? Full stop, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't need them to buy today. I can get them to buy tomorrow or 6 months or a year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, yeah, right? There's a 10-year view on this. We should be thinking ahead with clients.
Right.
And if we cultivate a batch of MLs over a period of time, they're going to buy from us. So the AI helps with that, right? Obviously, it helps you build your target account lists. It helps you build the target personas. It helps you nurture and interact with these people on an ongoing basis, yeah, right? And it helps you build MLs that convert into SQLs, yeah, right? So at that point, that conversion of yes, this is a SQL that then becomes an opportunity is utopia, right? And so AI is supremely helpful, but you need to understand what you're doing in the first place, yeah, which most don't, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, as you say, right, that the AI will be the tool, but the soul and the thoughts comes from the humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now, having qualified a lead, created a lead, qualified a lead. Let's in terms of the deal progression. Let me begin with you, Fraser. Is AI shortening the sales cycle, or is it just giving depths more reason to delay the real conversation? What are your thoughts, Sarah?
So there's two answers to this, right? The first answer is no one's using AI in the sales solution at all, yeah, right? I have not met one company. I've not heard of one company. I haven't seen one company. I hear people talking about it, but no one is actually using it in the optimization of the opportunity management. And there's a couple of reasons for that, right? Number one, sales directors generally are incompetent. They're normally senior salespeople who are good sales that become sales directors, and we know they don't make good managers. Number two, CRM's not being used properly. It's not been updated. I still haven't met a company yet that has a good CRM system that's working. So therefore, you've got an infrastructure in place, yeah, right, that is not working. It's not going in the right direction. It's not working, right? But that's about to change, yeah, right? So we're now able to see what salespeople are doing. We're now able to look at what sales managers are doing in a much more detailed fashion. We're now able to interrogate CRM using AI and understand what's happening. We're now able to coach salespeople. We're now able to assess the conversations they have with clients. Yeah, that is available right now. Yeah, right. That can be put into businesses straight away, where you're coaching the salesperson on an ongoing basis on the meetings based around the right structure. Yeah, right. So the future is going to be that, as I think Steve said it, we're still at early adopter phase. I mean, Sami's the expert in this, to be honest. He'll either say you're talking crap, Fraser, or not, right? But I don't see any companies doing this yet.
Yeah. Sami, you want to share
Yeah,
thoughts
no,
on this, please?
I agree and disagree with Fraser on a couple of things. I agree with a lack of structure in most sales organizations, and I won't go after the individuals. It's just that when you inherit a team and you inherit a process, even if you know what's right, it's really hard to change it. And
Yeah.
most people just go with the flow. So I agree with Fraser that in terms of tools use. Where I disagree is I don't know if it's a tool issue or if it's a human behavior issue. So, the thing that stopped those people from using traditional CRM is the same thing that's going to stop them from using AI tools. It's the same thing that's going to stop them from using any sort of process. So, is the tool easier? Is the tool being easier going to open doors and change behaviors? I hope so. I'm optimistic. I hope so. But at the same time, if history taught us anything, it's going to be, you know what? It's going to be the same problems. People just don't use the tool. They don't update the opportunity. They don't collaborate. They hide the stuff they think they can control. They only share the good news. So I think there's a human element here that we're missing in the conversation. But things are going to change. So who knows? Maybe they'll change in the positive direction.
Okay. So to expand on that, how should a sales manager uh, change pipeline review if a rep have AI generated insights walking in? What's your thought on
Who, Sami or
that? Sami?
What's my thought on a sales manager? How should they change their sales reviews? That's actually a
Yeah,
really good
of a
question.
pipeline. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a really good question, and I'll tell you why it's interesting because a lot of time spent in pipeline reviews, if they're done correctly, is actually spent making sure the qualification is correct. So if you entrust the qualification to AI and you tick all the boxes and you have things solid, then the qualification I think or the funnel review moves from a mechanical checklist process to a judgment call. Like, okay, based on everything we know, we have all the facts, we have all the data in front of us, we don't have to guess. How can we take a judgment call? And I think that also surfaces that will start surfacing the experience and the relationship aspect of it and the human intelligence aspect of it. Just okay, we have all the facts, everyone has all the facts, we have all the competitive insight, we have the historical trends for this kind of opportunity. How can we make a judgment call? So the conversation moves from will this close, will this not close based on what we know to based on what we've learned about this customer, how can we take a judgment call? So I think the kind of questions that sales managers will be asking are going to be different. It's not about did you tick all the boxes, it's about based on everything you know, give me a judgment call.
Yeah. And can I add to that?
Yeah,
I
please,
think
please.
the AI takes the emails, it takes the Zoom calls, yeah, right? The transcripts, it takes the information, it looks at the CRM, as Sami's saying, yeah, right? And it gives you, based on that, if the salesperson's hiding the information, as Sami mentioned there, it calls that out, right? And it goes, this is not a full this is not a full opportunity, and you're missing this, and this. Now, the question then, and this is why I give sales directors, sales managers a hard time, is if they're not calling that out and they're not managing the team on that, that's where the problem comes here, right? Then you don't get a successful implementation. Yeah.
Right, right. So thank you for that, Fraser. Steve, over to you. I mean, you have been doing a lot of recruitment, not only with solopreneurs, staffing and recruitment companies, but also with the end user companies. Is there where AI literacy starts separating who gets promoted, or is there? What are your thoughts on? Is it a differentiator or what it is?
Great question. And it's been fascinating listening to everybody, and it's been really interesting because if I look at AI where it's working at the moment, it means to me it's means one thing, average impact. That's what I'm seeing across the board, right? Because people aren't really understanding or the benefit or realizing the benefits right now. But that's not blaming the tool to pick up on Fraser. So not all salespeople are bad. It's because we're not quite sure, we're not utilizing it. Listening to the conversation, it hasn't changed. If you put rubbish in a CRM, you'll get rubbish out, right? I was amazed using say I was using HubSpot recently and using the features in there to pull out some of the data and stuff. As Fraser pointed out, when you're doing a report, a board report, whatever, and you look at the stuff that kind of comes out based on the information that's gone in, that it's super, it's impressive, right? And I was just like, whoa. So it's all human led. So the tools offer so much, and I'll give you a very basic example. If you use an outreach tool and it goes to the wrong person, that doesn't mean that the tool's at fault. It's somewhere along the process you go, did I not screen properly? Why has this gone to Sami when it should have gone to Vic or what have you? So again, that's why I kind of bring it back and go, the potential's kind of there. But I think to answer your question about the literacy, 100%. I think if you're And I honestly see both ends of the spectrum, and I'm going to give you all my kind of colloquialisms here. I talk about harnessing the humanity, right? So I say it's a tool in the same way that we use social media or LinkedIn or what have you. But you've got to have that mindset of are you willing to kind of go on a journey and try and make it work? Because those that will, and we're seeing this already, they get the productivity, the gap is just off the scale. So yes, if you're not open to change or whatever, then I don't think it's ever been quicker to look like a dinosaur.
Okay. I mean, if I were to sum it up, the human behavior, human in loop is as essential as the AI tools. They are just helping us to move things faster, do things screen more better, find out more right, prospects. But again, what intelligence is actually artificial intelligence is finally really an artificial. It's not really a human intelligence. It can never replace that. Okay. Thank you very much, Steve. I really appreciate that. So coming back to retention. So now having acquired a customer, and got it,
Vikram,
how do I
can I interrupt
expect?
you for a second?
Yeah,
I
sure,
just
please
saw
go
a
ahead.
question in chat specifically around CRM because we're on the topic. I
Sure,
think
sure.
it's worth jumping into it.
Sure,
So,
please.
so Darren asked, and he said he's asking specifically about CRMs, and he finds that when he's working with his customers, who seem to be mostly SMEs based in the UK,
Right,
he's
right,
saying that they're finding CRM like to be bloated, expensive, and not fit for purpose. Um,
right.
I think the three of us are going to have really strong opinions about this. Fraser, I really want to hear what you have to say. I will do my bit, but I really want to hear what you have to say.
But
Right.
you want me to go first? I thought you would put
Yeah, no, I want you to go first. I'll go after you. I'll temper.
Like, I hate CRM, right? It is the shittest, worst nightmare that exists, but not the CRM itself, the senior management that build it and the tech people that build it, right? It's built to keep a senior manager happy. It's not built for salespeople. It never has been. But there is a secondary problem that sits around CRM that sales management doesn't enforce it, doesn't make it part of the culture, doesn't embrace it. Yeah. So I think I've built over 100 HubSpot CRMs for clients in the past, yeah, and getting clean data in there and getting people using the system on a regular and ongoing basis the right way. It's difficult, right? What's going to change now is you're going to have a basic spreadsheet and you're going to have AI that sits over the top of it, and it's going to tell people what to do, and it's going to be highly effective at doing that. The challenge, though, is that in the same way as we don't action our to-do lists in CRM, if AI says you've got this to-do list of 15 things you need to do, what's going to change if management doesn't change, right? So it's going to do a better job. It's going to make it more intuitive. It's going to make it easier. It's going to pull the information. But the problem is the culture of the salespeople and the sales management.
I really wanted to argue with your Fraser, but honestly, I can't. It's he just to answer your question specifically, Darren. I think from my point of view, go with an Excel sheet with a good AI layer on top, and that's all.
So you need.
The rest is human discipline.
Correct.
Yeah.
And sorry, can I just come back? Because I actually think you're right, Sami. I think what was his name? Darren. Yeah, Darren raises a really good point. Yeah, is it's bloated, and what's happened with CRM is they made a mistake. Yeah, they made a huge mistake here, right? And what they do is they went, oh, AI will charge an extra $100 a month per user. And they're idiots, right? Because at the end of the day, they should have done it for free. And then that would have got the CRMs working, right? Successfully working. And then they would have been able to put the cost of that on top and keep the clients. Now what's happened is Salesforce, I think someone said Salesforce has created a product that's just a database, yeah? And then you can build everything on top of it. And they're having to go that way because they tried to monetize it and it was very, very expensive,
Yeah.
Steve?
Yeah, thank you very much.
What's Steve's the
Yeah.
old-fashioned. By the way, I thought you were Gen Y, mate. Right? I didn't think you were Gen X.
I'll take that. I'll take that. I think it was you. I can't see it because my eyes are going. I'm looking at the bloody screen. But I don't have anything to add. Like I agree. I mean, salespeople, and I was laughing before because I'm that guy that's been the sales guy, and you naturally get promoted, right? So I don't know. Maybe I'm not a bad manager. I just don't know. But I was fascinated just listening to what people were saying before, and I can honestly tell you, and that's why I laugh. I bring the human elements. In all my years, I've worked with some really good salespeople, and I've worked with some of them that just basically fill the CRM with a load of rubbish when it comes to when your points about senior management. I was always really particular about what went in, the prospects that I had, that anyone that knows me goes, from an enterprise sales perspective, ask me anything about my top 20, but specifically around the top 6 or 7, because they're qualified, they're vetted. I can tell you who's who, and there's da 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 da. Bang. Doesn't matter what tool you use it. Most people just throw stuff on that
Yeah.
gets them through to the next meeting. Whew.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what tool you use, right? You
That's
can
good.
pull all the
Yeah.
reports that you want, put all the weight in. Like, but
Mm.
that hasn't changed since the
Yeah.
dawn of time with salespeople. So that's why I'm laughing. The behavior that still hasn't changed. The tools have changed, but still, your time is valuable, right? Why are you speaking to these people? Would they buy your product? Do they align with you? Da 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 da. That hasn't changed, but it's just fascinating. The conversation is definitely other tools, but it's the process, the behavior is still the same.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, for Steve. Sami, thanks for picking that up. Okay, so now we'd like to move to the retention and expansion sides. Fraser, will AI account management
Go with
replace
Sammy
some?
first, right? Stop picking on me, all right? You know, it's
All right.
Sammy's the
Yeah,
expert. That's right. This is
he's the
his.
expert. All right. Okay. Okay. So Sami, so where do you think is AI actually proving useful in post sales, right? Or versus generating noise? Something. What's your view on that?
Post sales.
Yeah.
In the sense of like customer retention and customer success.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Customer retention and customer
Yeah.
success. Yes.
So you have two things. So you have the classic side of just the follow-up. And I think one of the,
Right.
I saw this post on LinkedIn. I don't know how true it is, but they asked the chatbot, I think it was Claude or something, what is the one behavior for salespeople that differentiates a successful salesperson from one that's not successful? And they said it is that one additional follow-up email that successful salespeople send. And
Right.
I know the chatbot might have been exaggerating, but the point is, that perseverance, that grit that salespeople have, that have a structured approach to, I need to call this person, and after that, I need to call that person, and if they say no, I have to reach out to that person. That patience and endurance really differentiates strong salespeople, and I agree with that statement. So if you apply that to when a salesperson closes a deal, if you think of a salesperson who, again, typical salesperson, they'll close a deal, they'll celebrate, and they'll go on to the next deal. But the really wise ones go back to that same customer and start working immediately on going on cross-selling and upselling. So they want to expand that deal. So those salespeople who really care about customer satisfaction and adoption of tools are those who succeed. And AI is going to make following up with those customers and building the right solutions for them a lot easier. So you can get their feedback more effectively. You can understand the gaps that they have more effectively. So the first step is, do we follow up with this customer? Do we make sure that they're happy? Can we make sure that they're using the tool the way it's supposed to be used? And that's going to make a massive difference when it comes time for renewals, cross-selling, or upselling, which is expanding the footprint in the account. The second thing that I like to think about is, if there are lots of tickets and escalations and problems, those all get tracked in whatever support tool the customer has, the vendor has. But what happens is, often, unless someone carefully goes through all the tickets, the noise, the signal gets lost in the noise. What AI can surface for you is, go through the last 100 tickets that this customer opened, find the common threads, and you'll find, oh, we have this common issue with a customer. They might have a language issue, they might have a support issue, access issue, whatever it is. AI will surface that, help you resolve customer issues, and then feed that back either into the account team to fix a problem, or maybe the product team to fix a product bug or issue. So those two elements, the follow-up, the structure for salespeople, and the understanding the gaps in the product or the way the sales team works, are going to help you with renewals, expansion, cross-sell, upsell, so on and so forth.
Right. Sami, thank you. But I have a short question here. Like, what about the products which are sold one time and then probably you'll never see a customer? Let's say a consumer product, right? In that scenarios, how do you apply this? In IT projects, yes, distorted. Yeah,
So
go ahead.
consumer products, by definition, usually it's a matter of scale versus big ticket items. Now, with some exceptions, most of consumer products are typically small ticket items, but they sell a big chunk of. And the biggest thing that moves the needle with consumer products that the clients do is customer feedback. And these days, yes, you can say, yes, they're going to buy it once and they're going to forget about it. Maybe for that individual customer, yes, you can forget about it. But if you're buying, where are you buying your product? You're buying it online, you're buying it in the store. The first thing you're going to do is open Google and say, give me reviews. Or you open ChatGPT and ask it for reviews on a specific product. And if you sell the product once, they don't care about customer lifecycle. and the product is crap, then after a while, everyone's going to pick up on the product as crap. So maybe you don't need to worry about the longer term, but the short term, which is making sure your product works and it was onboarded and it solves the customer's problem, is as important in B2C.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think probably you could have an AI tool which could listen to all social media and all, scrapes the information which is across, which is manually not possible, to find out and give you a nice summary of, how what people are talking about your product. Brilliant. Yeah, thank you. Fraser, coming back to you.
I have a pretty controversial, which is not a surprise here, but I have a pretty controversial view on this, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Like the salesperson role is going to change, right? So we know that 80 to 90% of salespeople don't hit target. So that's not a sustainable framework as we move forward, because they're going to get called out, right? The technology is going to show you what's working, what's not working, and either they're going to adapt or they're not. So if we look at the role of a salesperson, they should be involved from lead to renewal, right? They should be the whole way through, and they're going to have the bandwidth to do it now, because they should have very little admin to do, very little stuff going on in their lives. A good salesperson should be doing between 20 and 30 meetings a week, and even if they've got, it's a $100 million sale or $1 billion sale or a $10 million sale, they can still do a volume of 10, 15 meetings a week, right? They're going to be able to keep that activity up there. So part of that activity is from a lead point of view. Part of that activity is from an ongoing opportunity management. Part of that activity is from a renewals, cross-sell and upsell. Right. But they need to be trained on that, managed, and they need to be doing that consistently as they move forward, right? And so this old model of the salesperson manages an opportunity only is not going to be the future. It's not the plan for Microsoft. It's not the plan for these large organizations to do that. That is not what's going to be happening. It's going to be lead to renewal, right? And they're involved at all stages, which makes sense, right? Because the client's got trust with the salesperson and a human relationship with them, That's my take on it.
Yeah. Steve, your thoughts?
I think I better get another career. I think the whole conversation, such different, unique, and insightful kind of knowledge kind of coming through. I think the one thing we all agree on is that times are changing, right? It goes back to, you asked that before, what are the skills that we're looking for? I'll talk about the softer skills. So, for me, when I kind of look at this, you again, without sounding rude or disrespectful, it's never been easier to be you can never been quicker to be a dinosaur, right, in this kind of day and age. And I've seen this. There's so much kind of evolution that's happening at the moment. I mean, the opportunities that AI offers, you've got personalization at scale, speed of execution. You've got the AI agents that are kind of coming. You can get better. I mean, the preparation is the core fundamental. And this is what makes me laugh before, because what hasn't changed is, right, the amount. I think about the days we used to go for a meeting with someone, and then 10 minutes before, someone would go, right, what are we trying to get out of this meeting? What do we know about this guy? And you're just like, seriously? Like, these are the things. Now, nobody should go to a meeting unprepared, right? And the personalization on that, why would they align with us, and what do we? So there's no excuse for this. And trust me, I love nothing better than meeting people, speaking to people, prospecting, all that stuff. I really, really enjoy it. But I use AI, right, to make sure and sense check and go, is my pitch right? Absolutely not. Da 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 da. So it's all these things, but I'll kind of sum it up with this. It doesn't replace trust, right? So again, whatever tools that you use, go back to Fraser's first point. There's so much opportunity, but do not. So, for me, when sales kind of falls down, is you can't automate the relationship process, but you can rush it. And whenever a deal falls over for me, if I look back, it's something in my own process that I didn't get right. I look and say it's 1 to 8 touch points to make a sale, and by the fourth touch point, about 90% of people have given up. That's it, right? And most people try and close on the first thing. So again, with all this technology and there's no excuse not to be there, and then with the follow-ups, as Sami said. So yeah, I think it's actually really exciting for an old fella like me, to be brutally honest, as long as you're willing to kind of embrace it and not see it as a threat.
Right. Thank you very much, Steve. Okay, so we got 3 more minutes before we open for the questions from everybody. We have been hearing about all retrenchment and all these news across the globe. If I would like everybody, Steve, to begin with you, to answer this. If a young graduate asks whether sales is a good career in AI age, what would you tell him? Steve, you go ahead first, and then followed by Sami, and then Fraser.
Um, are you mad? I think, mate, sales. I mean, I looked at it, and there's so many things that's it actually. I'll throw a different lens on it. In the age of AI with technology, you better get good at sales. Like seriously, like because it's a communication skill, right? It's building trust, it's personal. So if you develop your skill in sales, you've got an opportunity of really having quite a rewarding kind of career. So yeah, mate, I'm definitely on the flying the bandwagon, for that. Like I just think again, just be adaptable, be willing to kind of change and transform. Like if anyone looks on LinkedIn today, I'm a storyteller, by the way. Sorry guys, might use the rest of the time here. My son turned 17 last week, my eldest, wants to be a footy player, rugby league. And his career coach said to him, "So what's your plan B?" And he went, "Well, rugby union." And I was like, that is that's my boy. But it was honestly, he was asking me, what it was a heartfelt kind of, what should I do? And he was a bit lost, and it was quite for someone of that age, when I'm here, I'm 49, and like he's wondered because people are saying AI is going to take the da 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 da. So it's a fascinating kind of perspective on this, and I actually look and say I think sales is one thing where people are still always going to buy from people, regardless of how you get there or connect or identify their needs. So I'll still flag fly the flag for sales.
Awesome. Sami, your thought for the young graduates. Quick one.
Quick one. If you look at what AI is doing to people in general, to like employees and staff,
Right.
all the layoffs, redundancies is AI washing. It's not because of AI. It is
Right.
indirectly through budgets, whatever. But if you look at how employees use AI, what's happening is that the highest performers are performing better, and the mid and low performers are actually not changing their performance that much, which tells you that the tool is not going to make the person. So whoever is going into any career, whether it's sales or something else, yes, AI is going to disrupt things. But if your intent is to connect humans with the solutions to the problems that they have, which is what sales should do, then it is absolutely a career that is not going anywhere. And it might look different. The activities they do might be different, but the idea of connecting problems with solutions is always going to be there. It's always going to be something that's valuable.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Fraser, your thoughts. Young graduates.
Okay, so I have so you all going to hear this first, right? So number one, I love sales, right? And I think sales is great. I just think salespeople and sales directors are a bit broken, right? Now there are exceptions through like Steve and Sami, which is obvious here, and obviously everybody that's here today. Yeah, so so don't take it personally. But again, my mom always said, if the hat fits, wear it, right? And we should all be reflecting on what we're doing and whether we're adapting. But 30% unemployment of graduates in the UK, right? Oh my goodness, what an opportunity. I am going to recruit 1,000 graduates in the UK and put them into sales, and I'm going to train them. And because of AI, because of technology, I can train, I can coach, I can assess, I can scale, I can do the BD, I can get them out there, I can build out the channels, and it's never been easier to do that, right? So yes, do it, but also at a personal level, that is the future, right? Young people, train them the right way, build a system and a structure that's not full of dinosaurs. Yeah, and off we go,
Right. Yeah, that's a good answer, Fraser. Thank you very much. So we open
I don't sound convinced there. I'm not convinced that you believe me, right? It's like,
no, I do. I think putting the structure around it. I actually, that's correct, because you have to put a structure around it. I mean, we have been doing without using AI or exhausting the technology available to us, but now AI is making us think in a different way. That is what at least post ChatGPT world, and I can call that, is happening. So a structure around it is very, very essential. And with the young workforce, Gen Z, they are more experts with technology, right? More hands-on with the new devices and the applications which are coming on a daily basis rather than us. They don't have a learning curve that comes naturally to them. So I think that's very essential. Sami, you are smiling. Your thoughts?
No, I agree. I agree. It's a really refreshing way of looking at it. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can open up for questions from everybody. We have few 12 minutes more to go for the webinar before we close. Yeah, so I have Tarun Kumar saying many organizations are seeing quick wins using AI to content creation and lead generation. In our experience, where do you see that the biggest competitive advantage, customer acquisition, sales productivity, customer retention is? Maybe Fraser, you want to go ahead with?
Yeah, I do actually. I think that I'm sorry, Taran, but I just can't agree with you, right? I think many organizations say we are doing this, right? Right? But it's not happening here, right? We've had clients who've gone to this world and come back because it's not working here, right? So if you create, so first of all, the most powerful content in the marketplace at the moment is visual. It's not written, it's visual content, right? There's a reason for that because there's so much crap out there, yeah, right? And then AI. If we think of our buying process, we're not buying from a bot, right? We're buying from an organization and a person, and so I really don't see I don't see companies using AI effectively across the board, yeah, right, to create the right content and do the right lead generation at all. Yeah, but that's just my opinion, yeah. So it's yeah.
All right.
Your thoughts, Steve?
I completely agree. It's the classic. Everyone's yeah, oh yeah, we're way ahead. We're on this journey, and the reality is they're not. And and that's what I say. I always the biggest response that I get or the biggest thing that I see with a lot of organizations, when particularly in sales, they go, "We just got to get AI in," and you go, What's the problem you're trying to solve?" "Well, we just need AI." That no. So kind of think about this. Is the breakdown your kind of process? Is it qualification? Is it getting people in the top of the funnel? Is it matching them, right? Is it personal? So it's that kind of thing. Whereas I think if you're just thinking it's going to be the silver bullet, it's not. But I agree. I don't know anybody that is absolutely nailing it. Even from my own, that's a very basic kind of outreach tool. I'll get some wins or whatever. But let's say if I do something or generate some messages, I could have got 10 times but just by doing it myself. So these are stuff that I kind of play back at this point in time. I don't know anybody that's really kind of that's kind of taken over the world with it.
No.
Right.
And can I add something?
Yeah, please.
If I ask a question, Sami and Steve, what is the most valuable lead you can get? Which type of lead creates the highest revenue, the quickest sale with the best value sale? Which lead, if you had to choose one type of lead coming in, would you take? Yeah.
Coming in?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Those if you have a lead coming in, that's probably someone who's doing their research. So they're talking to three years.
Sorry, that's not what I'm asking. What source, right? So
Source.
where's the source?
Oh, source.
Sorry, my Scottish.
I'll go while Sammy's thinking.
Yeah.
I'll bring it back to my old. I like a good trust ladder. You can come
Yeah.
in at number one or number four. Number four is trusted, right? Where you get referral.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's still basically from
So-
that.
Absolutely.
That to me is what recruitment sales is kind of based on.
Yeah.
And any sale more than $10,000, the dominant volume of revenue coming into most businesses is referrals, yeah, right? And as you get higher up the stream, yeah, right, the revenue stream, it's more referrals, yeah, right, and it's more dominant, yeah. So it's so AI doesn't get you more referrals, right?
No. Which actually, sorry, Rishab also just posted a question, and Rishab is asking which part of the sales process would be the last to feel any impact of AI.
Thanks.
Rishab, it's kind of, I think AI. I'm generally, I won't say I'm a skeptic, but I would say I'm very measured in my response to AI. I don't think it's going to solve everything and it's going to change the world like the way the Maxers are talking about, the CEOs. But it's going to have an impact. I think where we are is like the early days of the dot-com boom. It's everyone can see something's going to happen, but no one really can predict what it's going to look like in a couple of years. So the last step is probably going to be enterprise, enterprise, the chunk in the middle of enterprise sales where you have to go and meet people and talk to people and shake hands and do the RFP process. I think that's going to take a long time to be affected because, like we said, it's the companies are slow to adapt. The process is extremely human centric. You can accelerate some things here and there, like you can build a proposal more quickly or a presentation, or respond to an RFP. But at the end of the day, the stuff that takes time in this process is the time you spend talking to your customer or vice versa. So I think that's going to be the last. But that doesn't mean it's immune. I don't think any part of it is immune. Everything is going to be impacted, not for the better or for the worse. It's going to be different. It's going to look different. And as Steve has alluded to before, the key for everyone, whether you're currently in sales, whether you're talking to your kids, is don't adopt a fixed mindset. Adopt a flexible, expandable mindset where you can learn, you're going to adapt, you're going to change things. Don't fight the wave. Go with it. Try to surf it.
Right. Yeah. Very well articulated, Sami. Thank you. And Rishabh, yes, that's a good point. Growth mindset is essential, right? Steve, could you just in a quick short one, can you tell us, what is the single biggest shift in what good sales talent looks like right now?
Wow, a short answer. I still go back to nailing the fundamentals. I think we're now at an age where people are avoiding conversation and communication, which is just insane. Like, everyone's looking for a way to circumvent the system. Very basic thing. Have you spoken to Vikram? No, I sent an email. Let me go back. Have you spoken to this? Because speaking to someone versus how it communicates on an email. So you just can't replicate. The power of human connection, I think, is so powerful. So again, it goes back to trust there, where I'm just saying to someone, and again, even in the stuff, the people that I'm working with at the moment, very experienced recruitment founders that have just kind of lost their way a little bit, and you're just getting them to think a little bit differently, right? Which is, are you showing up? Do you have a brand? Do you connect with people, right? Do people understand the problems that you solve?
Right.
So mate, yeah, that's just my kind of take on this. Just make sure that you're having actual kind of communication and conversations with people.
I understand. Thanks, Steve. We got last 5 minutes to go. Quick one. I mean, to all,
There's a
one
question there,
thing.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes, I think. I'm sorry, Andrew. Yeah. Will the human-centric side of the sales be forced out by AI and the next generation of humans they don't engage? He said that Steve is touching on that answer.
I think
Yeah.
we just touched. Yeah, I think we just kind of
Yeah.
touched on it. Like, you've
Right.
got to. Yeah, sales is still about
Right.
communication.
I understand. So yeah, in the last 5 minutes, I'd like to, have your thoughts on one thing every salesperson should start doing this month or this week. Steve, you go ahead. What's your thought on that?
Picking on me now. It was Fraser before. I think.
Sammy bought me a
Yeah,
coffee last week, so that's
yeah.
okay.
I mean, okay, this is going to be. I'm very someone. I think it was Fraser who said there before, right? So if you check me out on LinkedIn, right? I fly the flag for being the Gen X guy who I do a lot of video, right? And I show up consistently, right? And I think
Yes.
people know it's me, right? I just read and I just go for it, right? And I took a plunge about 3 years ago. So I think don't be afraid to be your authentic self is probably the biggest bit of advice that I would give to anyone. And this is the thing. I think so many people now have got into this. Can I just push this through? Can I push content out? LinkedIn is full of it. It's full of crap. And so when you actually and for everything that we've said, when you turn up as yourself, you stand out, right? So don't be afraid to be authentically yourself, show up regularly and kind of consistency. So that's probably the best bit of advice I can give from user
Right.
case.
Yeah. 3 more minutes. So, Sammy, go ahead, please.
Um,
What's
so
one takeaway? What's one
I'll give you
action
the
we should?
takeaway in 1 second. Taran, your question needs a whole other webinar. So honestly, it's a very complex question. We're not ignoring you because honestly, to give this question the time it deserves, it really does need like a 50-minute conversation.
Yeah.
But if I can give one giveaway for any salesperson who's worried about AI, open your calendar in Outlook, like full screen. Take your phone, take a picture of your calendar, upload it into any sort of chatbot you want, and ask it, how can I make my day more productive? That's it. And then see where the AI will take you. It'll uncover things, it'll point out things, it'll like, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that, blah, blah, blah. And it's such a refreshing exercise that it's like holding up a mirror, but a very critical mirror that wants to help you get better.
Yeah, it's really good.
Awesome. That's a very practical approach. That's a very practical approach. Last 2 minutes, Fraser. Please.
Like you should have a framework for your meetings. Process is the key to being successful in sales. I mean, I think Steve's probably free-flowing, a bit more free-flowing than I am, but I believe in process, like minute by minute in a meeting. What's the structure of that? How does it work? Because that's duplicable, and that gives you I don't know, Steve, maybe I'm putting words in your mouth here, but it's the same as a football team, right? If they don't have structure, they can't be successful. So have a structure, and then after you finished a meeting in Zoom, take the transcription and say, based on this structure, how effective was my meeting, and how effective was my listening and questioning and listening skills, and what could I do to improve it? So similar thing to Sami, just in a different area.
Okay, that's a good one. We have 2 more minutes. Maybe if we can take a question from Tarun.
I don't think you have time yet, right? I think you need to wrap up.
I think we're 59. Okay.
So
I'd like to thank everybody. To start from Australia, Steve, thank you very much. Really appreciate. Sami and Fraser, you are in Singapore. We'll be catching up again. Once again, all the participants, thank you very much. I hope you got the insight of what we wanted to discuss and understand how AI is impacting the sales function and the marketing function of the business. I would like to, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, any of the speakers. It's been great seeing everybody here and great talking the panel. Thank you very much once again, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
okay,
Bye.
thank you.
Right, thank you.
Leave it to it. Thank you.